Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In my previous video, I promised to bring a complete step-by-step guide on how to apply for the Canada Super Visa in 2025. And yes, I know it's been a little delayed, some urgent updates and editing work came up, but thank you so much for your patience. Now, if you're confused between applying for a visitor visa or a super visa for your parents or grandparents, I highly recommend watching my earlier video where I compared both options in detail. It will help you to understand which one is right for your family. That video is linked in the I button above and also in the description below. But in today's video, we are going deep into the Canada Super Visa application process. Now let's get started. So on Google, you're going to simply search for Super Visa for parents and the grandparents and open the first link you see. Now it says parents and the grandparents can visit their children or grandchildren for 5 years at a time with a Super Visa. It provides multiple entries for a period of up to 10 years. Now if you look at your right side, it says processing time. There is a link, check processing time. If you open this link, you can, by providing some information, you will get to know about the processing time from your country. Now fee, it is 100 Canadian dollar, which is same as the visitor visa application. Let's click on this link to see the processing time. Now select an application time. You are going to simply select the temporary residence and then what temporary residence application you are going to select the super visa for parents or grandparents. Now here you need to select your country. I'm selecting India as I come from India and click on get processing time. So when you click here, come down and you will see the processing time. Currently it is 78 days. Now it may or may change in the future. If you try to see after a couple of months or couple of days, you will find it may be more or less depending on the country as well. Now I'm back on the main page. On the left side there are some sections. So first section is what is super visa. Let's click on this link to find out what is the super visa. A super visa lets you visit your children or grandchildren for 5 years at a time. We already know about it. There are some specific requirement for a super visa, including the need for the health insurance. This is a mandatory requirement. Now if you want to stay for 6 months or less, then you can apply for the visitor visa. I will share a link in the description because I have already created a video to apply for the visitor visa step by step. You can check the link in the description. How long you can stay in Canada? So we already know a person who gets a super visa can stay up to 5 years and then can stand for another 5 years. Now who can apply? This is all about the eligibility criteria for a super visa. To be eligible for a super visa, you must have a host who is your child or grandchild, is a Canadian citizen, PR card holder or the registered Indian. Now the person should provide at least one of the following document: Canadian citizenship document or PR card or a secure certificate of Indian status. Now the person should be at least 18 years old and lives in Canada, meets or exceeds the minimum necessary income, sign a letter inviting you to Canada that includes a promise of financial support for the duration of your visit. Now if they want, they can also get the letter signed from their spouse, but the spouse should be Canadian citizen or a permanent resident of Canada. Now the list including name and the date of birth and the number of people includes when you calculate a family size to determine the minimum necessary income. So what is it about? So suppose you are a couple and applying for your parents or the grandparents super visa application. So consider total number of 4 family members in your family. So 2 of yourself and 2 of your parents or the grandparents. So now you need to consider the family income you need in order to apply for the super visa should be $54,594 because total number of people would be 4. Now if you're a couple with 2 kids and applying for a parents or grandparents super visa, so total number of people would be 6 and the income you would need would be approx $61,000. Now you can get the same information down here as well. Now if you come down, you will see there's some additional eligibility criteria. So the person for which we are applying for the super visa, the person should be outside Canada when you submit your application for a super visa, and he should be allowed to enter Canada and take an immigration medical exam and meet certain other conditions. Now there are some other requirements for the health insurance. You must have a proof of health insurance policy. So basically you need to attach a copy of the health insurance at the time of you submit your application. This is a mandatory requirement. Now you can purchase the health insurance from a Canadian insurance company or the insurance company outside Canada, but for that there's some condition. You need to go through each and every condition, but I would suggest to go with the Canadian insurance company only. Now there's some more condition about the health insurance, that it should be valid for minimum of 1 year from the date of entry and be paid in full or in installment with a deposit. It should cover healthcare and the hospitalization and other expenses and provide a minimum coverage of $100,000. So also, as a super visa holder, you should have a valid health insurance policy while in Canada. If your health insurance will expire before you leave Canada, you may need to renew or maintain your health insurance during your stay. Private health insurance must be valid for each entry to Canada. Be prepared to show your proof of paid insurance to a border service officer when you enter Canada. Now other condition we consider. Now there's some other condition as well. We consider several things before we decide if you can come to Canada. You must be a genuine visitor to Canada, but they are mainly trying to see here the strong ties to your home country. So your ties to home country, the purpose of the visit, your family and the finance and other economic conditions. Now, are you visa exempt, or you can still apply for a super visa? So if yes, if you don't need a visitor visa to enter Canada, you can still get a super visa to stay in Canada for up to 5 years. Now let's click on how to apply and see how we can apply for the super visa. Now on how to apply page, you will see there are some conditions such as get your documents ready, especially you need to have the invitation letter, minimum necessary income, proof of health insurance and the medical exam, proof of your relationship to the host, and the proof that your host is a Canadian citizen or the PR holder or a registered Indian. So we already discussed all about these things. Now how to calculate family size, we already know about it. How to calculate the size, minimum necessary income requirement, and proof of health insurance and the medical exam. So we have already discussed all about these conditions. Now this is the time to apply online. So here we can see it says IRCC portal. So now we can click on go to IRCC portal and then click login, and after that we will have to create the application. So now if you look here, we just click on sign in to the IRCC portal, and then we got on this page again. So it says sign in to IRCC portal. So if you have the login details, you can sign in. Otherwise you can click on get invite code and then you can sign up. And once you're done, you can just log in back to the IRCC portal. Now here I already have signed up to the IRCC portal, so I'm just using my credential to log in to the IRCC portal here. So now here, after providing my email address for the IRCC portal, I am entering my password and then I click on sign in. And once I click on sign in, it is asking to accept the terms and condition. I just simply accept the terms and condition. Now I am inside the IRCC portal account. Now if you look here, there is a link called start an application, then click on apply for a visitor visa or a transit visa. Now it simply asks to acknowledge and then click on start application. Now the first question comes to you want to apply for more than one person at the same time. I'm selecting no right now because I'm just trying to show you the how it we can create the application. But if you are trying to create the application for your parents or the grandparents, for both of them, then you can select 2, right, and then click continue. Now I'm going to select the option visitor visa or the super visa. In the first question and the second question, I need to select to visit my children or the grandchildren for more than 6 months, or in the bracket says super visa, right? So I'm going to select this option. Now tell us more about what you will do in Canada, include dates. Now here I'm actually applying for the super visa for my father only. So what I'm going to write that what my father is going to do when he will be in Canada with me, and what is going to explore something, or he's going to attend any function or anything. So I need to provide all the details, and especially when he will enter in Canada and when he will leave. So I'm just just to show you I'm just going to write like I'm applying for the super visa for my father, so he can stay with us for a longer duration. He will be visiting us on September 15 and will be here for a year. So I'm just giving the date when he will enter and he will be here for a year. I just mentioned that in their duration. Now he will be spending time with us and the kids and exploring Canada. So I also mentioned that what he is going to do in Canada and what we will be doing, like exploring Canada or the nearby areas. If you want, you can also mention, if you're living in GTA, you can mention the dates, you can mention where you will be going during that time. It's up to you. There's some limitation of character you can use, you can write. Now when you will enter to Canada, so you need to mention its tentative date. It can be changed, definitely it depends when you get a visa. Now UCI, so if you have applied for the visitor visa or any other type of visa for your parents, the grandparents, then they will definitely have the UCI. So in that case you can enter, otherwise you can simply leave it blank and click on save and continue. Now there are some specific requirements you need to meet for a super visa. Now key requirements are: the applicant should be outside Canada, and the applicant should be parent or the grandparent of a Canadian citizen or the permanent resident of Canada, and have a medical insurance, and the signed letter, which is a invitation letter from the host, right? Now you come down and click on continue to the application, and then simply go to the next page. On the next page, it is asking for the representative. Are you applying on behalf of someone else? You are going to select simply yes, because it may be possible that your parents or the grandparents cannot file for their super visa by themselves, so you are actually filing their visa on their behalf. So who are you in the relation? So you're going to simply select family person. Then you need to provide your surname, so it is going to be host surname and the host given name, and then your telephone number and the address, right? Now it may be possible that your parents or the grandparents actually take help of some other person who is not even in Canada. So in that case, the details would be of that person, right? Not of the host. But host person details would be here only when the host actually applying for their parents or the grandparents super visa, and he is actually acting as a person who is applying on behalf of their parents. So now here we are going to provide the all details of the host. So now it is going to be the email address for the host, address, and everything would be the host. So I'm just going to confirm the email address again, and then I click on continue to save the details. So now save and continue. Now here it is asking the information about the travel documents information of the applicant. So here it is actually we need to provide the applicant information. So in my case, since I'm applying for my father, I'm going to provide my father's surname and the father given name and the date of birth of my father. So the all information is going to be about my father, and then I select the gender as well, and then click on save and continue. Then click gender and then click save and continue here. Now this is travel document of the applicant, so definitely you need to provide details of your parents. Now in my case, I'm applying for my father, so I'm going to select the passport, and its kind of passport is a regular passport. Now the select country code that match on a passport, so it is India for me. It may be different for yourself if you belong to some other country. Now what are the nationality on a passport? So I'm selecting India for my case, and then I need to provide the passport number that is going to be my father passport number, and then definitely I need to provide the date of issue of the passport and the date of expiry of the passport. So after providing all this information, I need to simply provide any other details if it is asked. Let's go down and see. Okay, now are you a lawful permanent resident of the United States? I am going to say no, because my father does not have any green card or anything else. Have you ever held a Canadian visitor visa in the past 10 years? So no. But if your parents or the grandparents ever held a visitor visa, then you are going to select yes. So do you currently hold a valid US non-immigrant visa? So in my case it is going to be no, but it can be yes in your case. Are you traveling to Canada by air? Yes, and then click save and continue. Now country or territory where you were born, so again it is asking about the applicant. So in my case it is going to be my father, so I'm going to provide the country my father was born, so it was India, and the city or town where you were born, so it's Delhi, India. Now you can always enter details as per the passport. and then after providing all the information, you're going to simply click on save and continue. Now, do you have a valid national identity document? So if you come from India, you will have the Aadhaar card. So in that case, you can provide all the Aadhaar card details, but in my case, right now I do not have the Aadhaar card handy up, so I'm just saying no, and then click save and continue. Now it is asking country or territory of the residence, so it is again going to be India. It is asking the information about my father, so I'm going to select all these information such as my father address and city or town and wherever he is living right now, and is your mailing address same as your residential address, so I'm going to select yes. Now the next question, it is asking for list your current country or territory of residence and then add all other countries or territories where you've lived for past 5 years. So in this case, you need to actually provide your wherever you're living in India for the last 5 years. So I'm simply going to select just one entry. So in my case, my father have never traveled to another country, so I can just provide his date of birth because he is living at the same place since he was born. So I'm just going to mention that he lives in India, he's a citizen, and from his date of birth, this is where he's currently live, and then I save it. So actually I have complete the requirement for providing the 5 years history. So if your father, your parents, the grandparents live in any other country, you need to provide those details as well in the last 5 years especially. Now it is asking for the biometrics. So in the last 10 years, have your parents or the grandparents ever given the biometrics? So you can select yes if your parents or the grandparents ever held a visitor visa or any other type of visa, so they may have given the biometrics. But if you want, you can select the option that I wish to provide my biometrics again, and then click on save and continue. Now it is asking for the invitation, which is again another mandatory requirement for the super visa. So it's definitely should be a child or the grandchild. So here would be your details because you are actually inviting your parents or the grandparents, or you are applying their super visa application, right? So it is going to be your details here, like since you are a child or the grandchild, so you would be providing all your details such as your address, your phone number, your email address, and all details would be all details would be yours only. Now, has someone else also invited you? So I would suggest you can say yes if you are married couple and you both are actually inviting them. It will help them because when you actually select yes and add your spouse detail, so when you actually submitting a financial support letter, you can actually show that you both have joint income and which actually meet the minimum income criteria. So right now in my case, I'm just selecting no because I'm the only person who is applying for my father. Now in the next question, it is asking about the finance. This is again going to be very important. How much money do you have for your stay in Canada? So it is actually asking about your parents or the grandparents, like what money they have in their account. So suppose you are actually going to take care of their expenses, then you can mention 0 here, or if they have some minimum amount in their account, they can mention that. And here is someone else giving you money for your stay in Canada. So as a host or as a child or the grandchild, if you are suppose you are going to sponsor their complete visa application, including the visa application fee, their medical exam, their medical insurance, their accommodation, food, travel, everything. So you are going to simply say that yes, you are giving money to your parents and you can provide all the detail. So when you actually submit your application, at that time you need to provide your bank details, your bank statement, and all your financial supporting documents instead of your parents or the grandparents document. But if your parents or grandparents are financially capable, they can provide the amount whatever is required as per the IRCC. They can mention in the first question and they can select no. So in my case right now, I'm just simply going to select no, and then I will click on save and continue. But as I said, if you are going to sponsor your parents or the grandparents and they are financially dependent on you, then definitely it is going to be you who would be taking care of their expenses. Even though if you want, you can also add a letter of explanation where you mention that you, even while your parents are in India and any other country, you take care of their expenses. You actually pay them money every month, right? So I selected no and then click on save and continue. Now the next question is about the post-secondary education history. So you would need to enter here your parents or grandparents or post-secondary school. So you need to click on add details and then provide the school name, from year, to year, and field of study and other details. So the required details you need to enter, like level of study, address of the school, and country, and save it. So for now I'm saying no, because if I have to provide all the information, that video would be too long. Now under military or police history, I'm saying no. And work or activities history, you need to provide this history for the last 10 years. So I'm going to add here, and then I'm selecting. So what I'm going to do is like from and to, I need to provide like what my father was doing. So here I'm like, my father was retired he was a cashier in the State Bank of India. So he was retired in December 2022. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select the year 2023 starting from January and selecting as a retired, and then it's ongoing because he's retired now, he's not working. So I'm just providing the address of like their Delhi home address. So and then now I just provided the history for almost 1.5 years. I need to provide the whole 10-year history. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another detail, and then I'm selecting, like I can select any for past 10 years. So I select 2010 and starting from January, I can say 2022 December because my father was retired at this date. And then I can select their government position, like he was working as a cashier. So in the State Bank of India, there is central government job. So I'm going to select the details as per my father job profile. Now I would be providing like all the details, like such as where ever my father was working, in which city, and what was the company name. So here in my father case, it is the State Bank of India, and country, territory, level of jurisdiction. Now level of jurisdiction, it is asking like if it is a national, regional, or municipal. So I'm selecting as a national. And the department or branch, I'm not sure what's the department or branch, I'm just selecting as a banking. And then activities or the position held, so I can mention the cashier in the activities or the position held. And then address where my father was working, so I'm going to provide the street address of the bank. So for now I'm just selecting as a Delhi in the city or town, the street address. So you need to provide the complete address if your father was working somewhere, and then I click save and continue. Since I have provided all the details for the past 10 years, now under the travel history, I need to provide the last 5-year travel history. So for now I need to provide details. So again, the travel history, my father has not traveled to any other country. So I'm just going to simply say, right, my father was living in the India. So I'm just going to say no, because there was no travel history for my father. And the travel history continue. Have you ever stayed in Canada beyond the validity of his status? No, this is the first time I'm applying for his visa. Have you ever been refused, denied entry to, or ordered to leave any country or territory? So no in my case. But if you guys have ever filed the visitor visa or any other visa which has been rejected, you need to provide all the information. So make sure you don't miss this point, otherwise it may consider as a misrepresentation. So in my case it was no, I selected no. Now there's some other criminality and security question, so I'm answering them. It's all no for me, so I have selected accordingly, and then click save and continue. And then another criminality and security question, I'm going to select no for these, as this applies to me. Now the situation, please make sure that you read those questions carefully and enter. Now, have you had a medical exam? So I selected no. Now it is asking some medical background question, so in my case I have selected no, and then click continue. Now there's some more medical background question. Are you currently receiving dialysis treatment? So I'm just answering all these questions no, as these applies to me. It may be differ as per your case, you need to select accordingly. Now the next question is about the marital status. So what is your current marital status? So In my case, it is going to be married, and then I'm going to select the date of marriage of my parents, and then I need to provide the detail of the spouse, so which is going to be my mother in my case. So I'm going to provide all details such as my mother's surname, mother given name, date of birth, and their current country where she is staying. So definitely my mother is staying with my father, so I'm going to provide all these details like her address and everything. And now present occupation, I'm going to say homemaker, and then is their address same as yours? I'm going to say yes. Now, will your spouse or common partner accompany you to Canada? So I'm selecting no, but if you are sponsoring the super visa for both of your parents, then you're going to say yes. And then I'm going to click on save and continue. Now it is asking for the children. So in the children, definitely you are going to say yes, because you will have at least one children which is actually inviting you to come to Canada, and who is the person who is giving the letter of invitation and everything, because the super visa, that is only for the parents or the grandparents, and the child or the grandchild can sponsor the super visa. So you need to provide your child name. So right now I'm just providing details for one child, but in case you have sibling, or if you have like two child, you need to provide all your sibling details and all the children details. So here I'm just just to show you I'm just adding my own details here, and then I would say like, if this child is not in Canada, will they accompany you to Canada? So I'm already in Canada, I'm just going to say no, and then I'm not providing any other information. But in case if you have like your brother or sister, you need to provide all these details. Now the next question is, tell us about your parents. So if you were adopted, so now this is actually asking about your if you are sponsoring your parents visa, so it is asking about your grandparents details, right? So in that case you need to provide your grandfather's name, grandfather given name, and then all your details related to your grandfather. It may be possible that you don't know what is the date of birth of your grandfather, so you can just select any year, and then the month and day you can just select unknown, because you may not know the month and the day. In case you know it, then you can provide the information accordingly. And since my grandfather is no more, so I'm just saying this parent is deceased, and then I'm providing the their his date of death. So you need to provide these information as per your current situation. And then I need to add my grandmother detail as well here. So I'm going to provide my grandmother surname, grandmother given name, and then I'm going to say relationship. In the relationship, I'm going to say it's mother, because it's my father's mother. So now I'm actually providing these information as per on behalf of my father, right? So that's what I'm selecting, mother, not the grandmother here, and the only option is mother and father. Now you need to provide all details as you provided details for your grandfather. So same way you need to provide all these details, and then select the country or the territory of birth, and then save this information. And after that you're going to click save and continue. Now language of the applicant, what is your native language or the mother tongue? So in case your native language or the mother tongue is Hindi, like in my case my father can speak Hindi, so I'm selecting here Hindi only. And then can you communicate in English or French, and of French, so my father can't communicate in English or French, I'm selecting neither. And it is not required that they should speak in English or French. Now what language do you want us to contact you? So I'm selecting English, as there is no other option. But still, if they wanna connect, then they are going to reach out to the representative, which in my case it's going to be me. Right now I need to provide the email address of the applicant. It may be possible that your father or your mother does not have any email address. In that case you can provide your own email address, just for any communication purpose. And then telephone number of the applicant, so you can provide your father telephone number here. So it would be definitely India telephone number. You need to provide the dial code as 91, and then you can mention the mobile number of your father under the telephone number, and then you can simply save it. So after providing the information, I'm going to click on save, and then I have provided all the information, then click on save and continue. Now this is the final page, guys. So this is like, summary or review. So this is the page where you are going to review all the information which you have provided in your application. So make sure that you double check your all the information, or you can even have somebody else to review with you. So because sometimes we don't see the mistakes what we have entered. So if you have somebody else who can review all these details with you, it would be great. And then click on save and continue. Now this is the page where you need to attach all your documents. So it is saying file size in the accepted format. So the accepted format is .tiff, JPG, PNG, doc, docx or the PDF. Now the file size can be up to 2 MB per file. Now here is the list of all the supporting documents. The first document is letter of invitation. Now the letter of invitation should be written by your grandchildren or the children, and this should have some requirements, such as the letter should contain the purpose and the length of your visit, the nature of the relationship between you and the person inviting you, the contact information of the person inviting you, whether they are Canadian citizen or the permanent resident. So these are the mandatory requirements which should include in the invitation letter. Now as part of the proof of income, children or grandchildren, right? So this is basically about the minimum income requirement. So here submit document that show that the super visa applicant's child or the grandchild meets the low income cutoff minimum in the form of one of the following documents: a copy of the most recent NOA, which is a notice of assessment. They can also provide the copy of the child or grandchild most recent T4 or the T1, an original letter from the child or grandchild employer stating their job title, job description and the salary. So these are the accepted documents which can be provided and attached to this application under the proof of income document. Now the next document is passport or the travel document. So for the passport or travel document, you need to attach your parents' passport, which contains all the non-blank pages of the passport. So you need to scan them in a PDF and then attach it to the application. Now this is the proof of funds letter, right? Now this is going to be another important documents, because as I explained when I was going through my video where I said, like, if your father is going to take care of their expenses, they have enough funds in their account, then you need to attach their bank statement, the bank statement for the past 4 months showing as amount large enough to cover all the reasonable expenses, a certified check or the bank draft copy. But in case you have said yes to the question where it asks that is someone else giving you the money for your expenses in Canada, and you have said yes, and you have explained that you are going to take care of the expenses as your father or your grandfather is financially dependent on you, then you would need to provide all your details here. So such as last 4 months bank statement, and it should show that you have enough funds in your bank account to take care of their expenses. So you need to provide all of your financial document and then attach it to this application. So next form is IMM 5476, which is a use of representative. So now since you are going to file, or you are going to sponsor your parents or the grandparents super visa, so you need to get this form filled and signed by your parents and then attach it to the application. Now next document is about the relationship proof. So a copy of proof of relationship with the person or the family member inviting you to Canada. So in that case, you can attach a birth certificate or the copy of passport where you have your father's name. So you can attach under this proof of relationship status. Now the next is medical insurance, which is a very important document. Before you submit your application, you need to make sure that you purchase a medical insurance from a Canadian insurance company, which is valid for a year, and you have paid the full amount or in the installment. Next is about the consent personal information. Again, that is going to be, you need to get this form filled by your parents and attach it to the application. Employer letter, since your parents are not working, so you can attach a blank document or say like your parents are not working, so this letter is not required, so attach it to the application file, this application. Now next is the additional document. So what you can attach here, you can attach the copy of your PR card, your citizenship document, or your passport, which is if you're a Canadian citizen, then you can attach the copy of your passport, right? And you can also prepare a letter of explanation if you feel that any of these documents or needs an explanation or any of the details which requires an explanation, then you can prepare a document and then explain each and everything in the detail, and make sure you do not miss anything in these documents. So prepare a document and then attach it under the letter of explanation or the other documentation. After attaching all the required documents to your application, make sure to review each and every document once again and then click save and continue. After that, you will come to the next page, which is the fee. Now here you need to make the fees for your super visa application. So it is going to be $185 for one applicant, and for 2 applicants it is going to be $370. After that, you are going to click save and continue. Then it will come to the consent and the declaration page, and after that, after you give the consent and the declare it, then you submit your application. Now your super visa application has been submitted. I hope you found this super visa guide helpful. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and the family who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more IRCC updates. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.